Welcome to another edition to Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. This show was originally created from one of the 300 motivational quotes I created for the contents of my book. I was curious how one quote landed on one person, or was it the same for each one? I spoke to my brother Naheem and said, we should do something about this. Based on interpretation and perspectives, we created a show. And this show, so we meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And based on our perception and interpretation of the quote, we throw it out. Everyone's on camera and everyone shares. Each week, someone brings in an original quote. We have a very special person, our young one, brought us in a quote from a TV show that I have never heard of before. I've not even watched it, so please forgive me if I kind of stumble over it. So, for those of you that are not familiar with the format of this show, everyone's welcome. We're probably the only podcast that allows brand new people to come in and participate and be co-hosts. I'd like to first welcome in, our love boat, the captain of our ship, the Queen of Queens, Mr. Christopher and Gilda James. Welcome to the show, my co-host, our educators. We've got plenty on this show, but Anne Marie is doing her thing. She is now back into developing our young people's minds over there. Anne Marie Holling, welcome to the show. And you talk about attitude. You talk about when someone brings it. Linez Kinsey, she brings it. And matter of fact, every moment that she speaks is a drop the mic moment. And we have our young one here. We have DC, Danny. How you doing? She's bringing a quote today. She's bringing it from Parks and Recreation, which I have no idea. So please forgive me that I'm not as cool and hip. So she's finally put me in my place that I'm one of the old heads. So I'll sit back and enjoy the ride. And we have Curtis Battles, our entrepreneur extraordinaire. Um, a matter of fact, if you're looking at this show for the first time, I will tell you, we put together 23andMe and we found our voice, Otis and Curtis. I'm going to tell you, if we match up DNA, I'm going to tell you they're brothers. Okay. Matter of fact, I said this before. We do 23andMe. Someone on this show is related to someone else, and we don't even know. But I do know my brother from another mother, Mr. Naheem Garcia. He is my conscience. He is my friend. He is my safety raft when I'm trying to jump off the boat. So Naheem, uh, he is one of the most gifted and most talented actors that I know. He is joined with other thespians on this show. I think Otis, our voice of the show, is an actor. Matter of fact, he's singing right now. He's going to put out what is it, EP pretty soon with that golden voice of yours.
Oh
And so
yeah.
with that said, Otis, if you don't mind, before we introduce Danny and her quote and tell us why she brought this quote and how it landed on her, Otis, will you please, for our listening audience, deliver in that golden voice of yours today's quote?
Grand Rising, everyone. Happy Sunday. And today's quote. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
All right, Danny. Parks and Recreation. How did this quote land on you? And I don't know anything about Parks and Recreation. All I know is that someone says a spinoff from Saturday Night Live. So I'm going to have to Google it and start watching it to catch up so I can be hip again.
So this was actually my senior quote. This is the reason I chose to share it because when it landed with me, I was probably like 17 or 18, and Parks and Rec was one of those shows that really motivated me because I've always been an enthusiastic person in community. And I'm like, the main character, Leslie Knope, is literally the embodiment of that positive spirit. There's a part in the show where she literally says when someone's yelling at her, they're just carrying at her very loudly. And that kind of perspective was very important for me, growing up and trying to be a leader in my school and trying to make change and doing different things. So I chose that quote because I've always felt like a lot of people act like they know what's going on, but I felt like there's just no real roadmap or clarity on what's going on. So I just love that because it's so honest. And you can know when you're doing a good job and everything, but you might not know what you're doing, and that's completely fine. And I felt like kind of removing that need to know was very important. So that's why that quote kind of landed with me. It's like in life, we don't know what's going to come at us, but we just keep trying. And sometimes we do really well at it. So and that's where it landed with me.
Well, you know something, I agree with you. Every last one of us and everyone listening to this podcast, we have all experienced the first time interviewing with someone, the first time going out on a date, the first time getting behind the wheel of a car, the first time looking at copy to a screenplay or a TV commercial, and the first time making a decision independently all on your own. And we don't know exactly what we're doing, but we just know in the moment we're doing what we're doing and we're trying to do it really well. So um, that's probably should have been my ending thing. Oh my gosh. But Danny, I'm going to forego this. There's someone that's a lot smarter than me, someone that has served his country very well. Labor Day is coming up. There's flags blazing every single where around the world. Hats off to you, Mr. Christopher James, and thank you for your service. I'm going to do this every single week because we really appreciate the sacrifice not only that have you made for us, but many of our forefathers and foresisters and foremothers, for aunts or whatever, made a sacrifice so we could have this voice and be present right now. So, Christopher, what are you doing really well that you don't know what you're doing?
Grand Rising, everyone. When I first heard that quote, it took me instantly to a theme that I think some of us here may have experienced, but it hit me really hard. And Danny kind of hit on it when she talked about doing something without instructions, without any written format. But I've been raising a daughter for the past 50 years. I say that because she's about to turn 50. And there are no instructions for that. There are no blueprints for that. You have references from where you were brought up and what you see and learn and hear. But in the midst of all that uncertainty, you still say, "But I am doing one heck of a good job." But you have no idea what you're doing. I mean, like, but when you get past all the haze and the maybe embarrassment of not knowing, that feeling still settles on you. You know what? I'm doing a really great job. Whatever it is, I'm doing it very well. Because that's what parenting is. I mean, like, if there are instructions, you don't trust them. If they're a lot of the examples that I've seen have been negative examples of what I'm not going to do. But the bottom line is you're sort of pioneering a totally uncharted path for yourself. Now, they're great parents. There are billions of great parents out there. My parents were excellent. Gil's parents were tremendous. But when you're placed in that driver's seat, no matter all the encouragement you get, all the little pointers you get from other parents, you're still left with that feeling, I have no idea what I'm doing. But when you look at your kid, when you look at your daughter, in my case, and the great things that they do, you kind of lean back and say, "But I did one heck of a job."
Wow. Huh. That made me think of IKEA furniture. When you're raising your kids, you get no real true instructions, and you're always left with extra parts.
That's a good one.
So, uh, so that's kind of the way that I'm taking that because I know we're all parents on here, with the exception of Danny. And Danny, you better not be a parent too soon. Take your time. But I'm going to segue from one parent to the other since she is the co-host to her own show with Christopher Gildas. How does this quote land on you, especially knowing that you got extra parts?
Okay. Grand Rising, everyone.
Grand Rising.
What I got out of it, a list of things such as reclaim your purpose, reclaim your sense of purpose by investing on yourself. Set some goals, learn from failure, seeking support, explore new opportunities, practice self-compassion, focus on personal growth, and staying patient. That's what I got out of it.
Whoa. And I'm going to tell you, we are standing on our feet. We're applauding you. And I don't want to even pick up the mic because Curtis, when I turn it over to you, I thought following Larnez was a tough act to follow. Curtis, you just followed Gilda James. All right. So, Curtis, how does that land on you? Drop the mic.
Well, it is always a pleasure to see everybody on a Sunday morning. It's nice to be back. I've been away for a little bit dealing with family stuff, but things are all good. And so two pieces come to me. One is an extension of what Christopher said, but it's now we have my father-in-law is with us. He's 83. So we are doing things as well as we can because every day is a blessing. We don't know what's going to happen next. And how do we make sure that he is engaged with us in living his best life? So, whether that is you're making him a lasagna dinner or you're getting him that new scoot around thing called a rollator to make it easier for him. So I don't know what we're doing, but it seems that it's working pretty well. And the other thought that crossed my mind is just in the entrepreneurial world where you have a vision, you don't know how you're going to get there, but each day is a step along that path, and you keep saying to yourself, this is going exactly the way I expect it to go, and we're going to get there, and we're going to get there as soon as we can. I don't know exactly how we're going to get there, but it's all going to work out. And you have to always believe that whatever you're doing is the best that you can be, and that you're doing the right thing, even if you think you have no idea how you're going to get there.
And
That
that's an amazing way to phrase it, especially looking at it from the entrepreneurial spirit. None of us starts out, and I would say none of us, and embodies every single decision any of us have ever made to get to where we are today. We have no idea what we're doing. The only thing that we had an idea is that we wanted to do it, and we figured it out along the way. But I will tell you, this is going to contradict everything that I just said because Larnez always knows what she's doing. And she's going to deliver it in a way that's just going to make me be shameful of the thoughts that I just said. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut and let the Queen of Queens deliver on this quote. But before we do that, Otis, for the people that are just tuning in, I love hearing your voice. I love the excitement, enthusiasm, the way you deliver this quote, because I know when we get to you, I got to buckle my seat up early and up, because might be a 0 to 60 in world record time. And Larnez, here it comes. All right, give it to us, darling.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
Larnez, are you doing it really well today?
I always do it really well. So I don't have those obstacles of not doing it well. But this quote, this whole concept isn't just about confidence in the chaos. It's also deeply connected to how we find and fulfill our purpose. As we navigate life, occasionally clueless and often improvising, we encounter people and situations that act like cosmic nudges. They are often not random. They're reminders of what we're here and the purpose we may have forgotten. These interactions are a part of the universe's way of saying, wake up, remember your mission. So when you say you're doing things really well, even if you're unsure of the specifics, you're tapping into the idea that everything we do is part of a larger creative continuum. Every step, every bump, every seemingly random moment is crucial in the grand scheme of life. they're not just happenances, they're opportunities to align more closely with our true selves. This is the essence of living authentically. It's about embracing these moments that remind us of our path, allowing them to guide us and reaffirm our direction. It's about understanding that each encounter, each challenge, and each victory is a piece of the puzzle that is your life. Incorporate this mindset into your journey. Let it enrich your understanding of how you navigate your days. Understand that living authentically means recognizing that every moment, no matter how chaotic or unclear, contributes to your personal and creative evolution. Keep flowing, keep living your true purpose, and remember, you're doing it really, really well. Part of the creative continuum in your authentic life. And that's how this hit me.
Hey, all right. Andy Dyers, I'm going to tell you, when you said that original quote, you didn't see this coming, did you? All right. Thank you, Larnez. We say reach one, teach one. All right. You've been served, world. And with that said, all right, we're going to go to the person that right now is responsible for handling the mindset of our next generation, the gift. And I will tell you, the most underappreciated profession in our market right now is teachers. They're being dictated to people that haven't had a formal education, have been privileged to a life which separates them from humanity, but without the gift of someone pouring their heart into our children, without ever asking for anything other than return. In return, is our educator, Anne Marie, pouring into our young kids. I know we smiled a lot and whatever when we came up with this quote, and it came from our youngest member of our show. You being responsible for the next generation. Looking at this quote, I'm curious to hear, how's your interpretation on this? Or what's your interpretation?
I am still levitating. To go after Larnez, everything she said. I am still levitating. Grand Rising, everybody. Grand Rising. Oh my goodness. I think to myself, someone mentioned chaos, introduced the word chaos into, don't you want to know where you're going? Don't you want to have a vision? Because the people perish without a vision. So this quote landed on me in the sense that one has to surrender control. One has to surrender in having the confidence in yourself to understand that you got this, to understand that you are capable, to understand that you can, it will meet you, the opportunity will meet you where you are, and then you come into a sweet spot. I think, and thank you for shout out to all the educators out there. Thank you for recognizing the profession. And that is, how many times do we go in, and sometimes we go in without a lesson plan because we haven't had time to do that. And when you get to have a couple of years under your belt, you understand that at some point you meet your sweet spot. At some point, your voice begins, and the spirit and the intuition and the energy between the students and the teacher, that just flows. So in terms of all of us, you don't have to be an educator to have flow. It's that it builds a sense of confidence and a sense of knowledge, and we move from chaos to trust. Whether you call it God or your higher being or whatever your faith says, you have to trust that all of these things are going to work together for your good. All of these things are going to come together. And even what you think might be a mistake will somehow align and shape who you are. So you are able to do it really well because even though you may stumble at first, you're going to find the opportunity where you can speak with confidence. So the call to action, if I can phrase it that way, is really knowing when you need a vision in place because you don't always want to wing it. You don't always want to, be out there drifting. But knowing when to have that vision and how to search for it and how it appears to you in those God moments and knowing when to flow and flowing in the confidence, the intuition that you got this, you know how to do it really well, and it will come to you. The magnetism, you will attract what needs to come to you. So that's how this quote landed on me.
Right, all right, all right. And again, to my hat goes off to all of our educators. I mean, you're at the beginning of the end, and they always say when you're writing a book, or what I say when you're writing a book, start with the end in mind, and then rewrite the end once we decide on what the end really looks like. And we're the only way we're going to know if we wait and see. So I'm going to introduce a new relationship that we have. It's not an official sponsor, but Steven Sashin, he is the creator of Zero Shoes. He is a personal friend of mine. He has over 79,000 five-star ratings over going barefoot. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a shout out for the next couple of weeks on the show. And I'm going to say, look, if you're in the same position that I'm in, let your feet do what it's naturally designed to do. If your ankles and your feet and your back all start to bother you and they scream at you at the end of the day, like mine did, I tried for a couple of weeks and everything changed. I learned to go barefoot. So I am now running and working out every single day in barefoot shoes and Zero Shoes. That's the name of his company. So if you want to learn more about going barefoot, I'm going to put a link inside the description of this show and the shows to come. So if you want to do what I do or did or doing and live better, I would say do it in Zero Shoes. Go to www.zeroshoes.com, and zero is spelled with an X versus a Z. So, pardon the interruption on that. Parks and Recreation. Otis, give us the quote one more time before I introduce Naeem.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
Naeem, I love you, brother. And every single time I turn on to my Netflix, I turn on to HBO, I turn on to my Hulu. I don't even have to call you anymore. All I have to do is turn on my television and you show up. Do you know what you're doing? Do you know the impact you're having? You have no idea on just how good you are. We all bared witness to you doing having a starring role in a play of one of the most toughest um, theatrical writers in the business, talking about miles and miles of dialogue. You delivered like you were born chewing on that script. And I can't say anymore for any director, producer, George Lee. I'm telling you, Michael Bay, I'm telling you, if you don't put this man in one of your projects and give him a chance for the whole world to see in one of these multi um, million dollar films, I'm going to say shame on you. And don't put him in one of these movies, Planet of the Apes, where no one's going to see him. You know, put him in one of these movies so you can look at that and know what's in his heart. You can hear his voice, and you can see his gift. Because even though he doesn't really know what he's really doing, but he's doing what he's doing really well. And Naeem, tell us how this quote lands on you.
Can you hear me? First of all, peace, everyone.
Peace. Grand Rising.
It's a pleasure to be here once again. This quote landed on me, and the first thing I thought about as an actor is improv. Improv is something that we exercise when we jump into, we give a situation, we jump in and we just improvise a dialogue and the movement and everything else. Life is that way. Just like parenting, it does not come with instruction, but there are basic things that need to be in place in order to execute improv. You got to be able to listen, be able to respond, be able to be in the moment, and be able to act. Those are basic skills. Just like parenting, you don't know what to do all the time, but you remember what you was raised in, and you remember your wrongs and your rights. Just like everything else in education, many times I've walked in, and it's like, what am I doing today? I left my lesson plan. Let me pull it out my back pocket. All that is based on having basic equipment, basic rules. Just like anything else in martial arts, is a basic stand. So when I think about this quote, and I think about life, and I think about what everybody has said, it's really important to know that you got to have some basics, because as long as you got your basics in place, everything else will fall in place. I don't always know what I'm doing. You're right. I don't know what I'm doing. Just like with King Henley, I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to memorize and jump in there just like Money Game. I don't know what I was doing. I just try to memorize those lines and think about what I was saying. But if what I'm doing, and if I'm doing it right based on my basics, and if I execute it correctly, they'll always turn out right, especially if your heart's in it, especially your mind's in it. And if your intentions are good, they'll always come out right. If your intentions aren't right, you know what the outcome will be, no matter how prepared you think you are. But if your intentions are good, as what the song said, I'm just a man whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood.
Mhm.
That's how that flows.
All right, all right. From one voice to another.
Very
Um,
simple.
Very simply, that was not simple. I'm going to tell you from Christopher and Gilda, the gift of the message from Larnez, another drop the mic moment from DC, bringing it home and giving us something that made it all of us smile from the top of the show to the end of the show, and to Anne Marie, our educator, and to CB. Matter of fact, we got DC, CB, OS, NG, we got CJ, and we got KM. We got everything, and LK. We have everything in here. None of us really know we're doing things right, but the thing is, we're all doing it, and so we're all doing it really well. So no matter how you may look at it, we think we're doing a great job at what we're doing. So that's why we keep doing it. And Naheem, I'm glad you sung, because Otis has been going around. And he's about to drop his EP. See, I am hip, Danny, because I wanted to say LP or CD or MP3 or whatever. You probably don't know anything about any of that. So EP, I finally looked it up. Electronic. I don't even know what EP stands for. I'm just bullshitting. I'm just trying to be cool, Danny. I'm trying to be relevant right now. But Otis, if you give us this quote one more time. And because I know you're going to set it up for me very, very well, because I love your enthusiasm. And the best gift that anyone can give is somebody giving someone a reason to laugh, and you do it every single day. And then I'd like to hear your interpretation on this. So one more time with that golden smooth voice of yours.
All righty. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well. I don't know. Different things come upon my head. On the fun side, think of with you and your young niece, your young nephew, and you pull out your PlayStation. They're clicking away, and then you sit there. Okay, can I do it? Oh! I got you! I got you! Until that one day you happen to beat them because you practice and practice while they were away, and then they get all upset, and then they come back and beat you. That's the fun side of it. On the business side of it, I even think of when I was in parking management, and we changed companies multiple times, and we had to get audited. And there was a large book of different things we had to respond to the audit from the previous company of how we were doing things, and we were getting scored. You had poor, fair, or very good. And by asking questions, a different audit, you get a fair. Okay, what did we do wrong? The next audit, what did we do wrong? But the more questions you ask, and then you understand what the auditor's looking for, then you adjust your daily paperwork to match with their paperwork to the point where you get a very good. So it's very frustrating at the time, and you try and try and try, and you end up doing something really good, better than the other locations.
That's all right. As we start to navigate ourselves through life. we bypass the instructions that have been written for us, and we start to create a manual of our own. And as long as we're doing it just the way you're doing it. We do it as best as we can until someone shows us a better way, and then we do it a better way than that. So that's why we're always doing something really well. Now, Danny, now I know what EP stands for. Thanks for letting me know that.
Extended plays.
Yeah. See,
I still don't know what that means.
I'm the most uncool person on this whole platform. It's like, everyone said, duh, he doesn't know what EP stands for. Extended.
Neither did I. Don't worry about it.
I have to
That's like the
Google it.
45 versus the 78 back in the day.
I still remember what the smell of vinyl smelled like. And for those of you
With
that
extended play, what is that exactly?
Remember when we had
Extended
VHSs? You had the SP slow play. So it's playing, it's using more of the tape. Once you start going to extended play, it's putting more information in a smaller amount of
when everything shrunk and looked weird.
Right.
I'm going to tell you what I really think it meant. It used to be back in the day when we were coming up, and I'm going to say Naheem, Curtis, Otis, Christopher, Mary, Anne Marie. I don't know if Larnez is old enough to remember this, but it used to be when you recorded a song, you had 3 minutes and 30 something odd seconds to do a song. So that was the format. The extended play, you listen to a play now, it's 5 minutes long for one song. Okay. I know because I do my cardio to 4.5 songs. So when I get 25 minutes of cardio, I get 4.5 songs. I don't have to use a timer. I just know, how many times can you repeat the same line in a story, which they call the hook? It's all they say this over and over and over and over and over, and we dance to the beat. So now that we have the quote, I had no idea what I'm doing. All I know is I'm doing it really well. And I'm doing it really, really well. Okay. Sound like I should be running for president, right? But anyway, I've never watched Park and Recreation, so I'm going to take it. I will look it up. But when I thought about this quote originally, I thought about how I spoke to my North Star. Talked about my gift, my truth, talked about how much I love to talk, in which this show probably reflects that. It talks about my love for people and my gift for connecting good people to other good people. Talks about the truth and power of your words, my truth. I write this because I believe that there is a story in each one of us. And basically, each one of us are inspired by someone else's story, and someone else's story has given life to our own story. Like Andy Dwyer said, he's doing something really, really well. I think this morning I shared with the group in Motivational Sundays and our WhatsApp app. I said, do motivational quotes really inspire, or are they just nice things that we say when we're struggling with our own truth? Our words have power. Our words allow us to free ourselves from conversations and our lives from other things that seem to control us. When I first looked at the letterhead of this company, RMK Productions, and the 2 shows that I host or co-host on, it made me think I was carrying an elephant on my back. But when I really peeled back the layers, I was carrying my elephant on my back. So that's why I found courage in taking that next step. When it comes down to knowing what you're really doing, only one person really knows, and that's the Creator. We are all just responsible for doing what we do. No matter how others may see it, good or bad, we are the captains of our own ship. So if you're doing it and you're doing it really well, as I say, you're building your plane while flying. And the only thing I can say at the end of the day, if you can answer how well you're doing, what anyone else thinks of you really doesn't matter, as long as you're doing it really, really well. God, I wish I had written that down.
Mm-hmm.
But you did record it.
I did record it. And like I said,
today
was one of those things that everything that was going to go wrong went wrong. I didn't get a chance to print out my show map, so I had no idea where it was going to take. But like you, Naheem, like Curtis, like Gilda, like Otis, when you get a piece of copy and you're in the moment, and the directors and the other actors are depending on you, as long as you don't let everyone else know that you messed up the line, you're doing what you're doing really well based on how you perceive that character and how that character lives with you. And that's what people need to realize is that none of us are going to get this life right, but we have to do as much of this life right by us as we can in order to live the life that we have. All right. And if you feel like at the end of the day you do it well, again, I'll repeat it again. And Danny, I'm going to say this because you're the younger of all of us. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks as long as you think you're doing well. That's all that matters. And I'm sure each and every last one of us have presented a conversation on stage, in life, on screen, or whatever, and we've all been paid for it at the end of the day. As long as that paid order has your name on it, someone thought you did it really well.
You know how many lines I dropped when I was doing that darn play? And at one point, I even dropped a monologue.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you had no time to worry about it. You got to press on, and you can't let them see you sweat. Of course, the other actors know how you did, and your stage manager know how you did, and you know how you did. But it's not your job to look like a failure. It's your job to make sure the audience leaves with a smile. So you pressed on, say, "Hey, I hope they enjoyed themselves." Like I thought I was struggling. I thought I was the bottom one on the totem pole with the whole project, and then to turn around and be nominated for one of the second strongest awards, that was pretty cool. So yeah, I guess this quote is has some bottom.
It does have some meat on the ball. And the funny thing is when you said that, remember the night that you and I had the conversation, you were talking about you had so much volume in work, and I reminded you of what you put it out there in the world. You said one day you want someone to give you some meat on the bone, and now you finally got it. And I said to
cry.
yeah,
Then I cried.
and I said to you, now that you got what you wished for, I said, trust me. I said, I actually ordered them. I have the book, the play. And I said, if you mess up your line, I said, I will deliver it and shout it out in the audience.
I'm glad you didn't.
And lucky you were so damn good. I wish I could see the play again because Larnez jumped at the end of it. I did not see the ending. So we have to say it again. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't realized that we have a lot of fun on this show, we are family, we are one. And like I said, if we were to do a 23 and me DNA test, someone on here is blood brother or blood sister, someone. We are connected because God put us together. When I talk about the creator, however you want to look at life and whatever, Larnez says we're all energy. We're all connected. When I talk about going barefoot, believe it or not, the reason why your feet are the way it is right now and your back hurts, whatever, is because we have become disconnected to the creator of this earth. And that energy resides in each and every last one of us. It goes from Naheem to Curtis. It goes to Otis to Danny. It goes to Ann, to Larnez, Christopher, and Gilda, and comes back to me. We're not the originators of the source. We're the benefactor of the source. So remember that. My grandfather always said, when you get to a place in life that you can help someone, he says, it's your duty to do so. He said, reach one, teach one. And with that said, before you go, I don't want to say fade to black yet, but I do want to say, if you like what you've heard, go to RMK Productions and network on our YouTube page. If you really liked it, share this and subscribe. I'm only going to ask you once, So with that said, I'm going to repeat my closing line again. And Joseph Phillips, I love you. Thank you for pouring everything into me. Grandpa, I miss you. Grandma Ann, I miss you. Leroy McLemore Sr., my dad, I miss you on this Labor Day. Every single person that has ever donned the uniform that is no longer here, I say on behalf of your family, friends, your neighbors, we miss you and thank you for your service. And so again, when you get to a place in life that you can help someone else out, it is your duty to do so and do it really, 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 really well. And with that said, he said, reach one, teach one, and
We fade to black.
And with that said, we're out, ladies and gentlemen.
You got to do it again, Kev. You got to do it again so she can come in with the right. You didn't give her the full story. So do it one
All
more
right.
time.
My grandpa, again, RMK Productions stands for remake. So this is going to be retake. Grandfather said, when you get to a place in life, when you can help someone else out, it's your duty to do so. He said, reach one, teach one. And with that said, we what?
We fade to black.
With that said, we're out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you until next week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.